Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. We'll continue with chapter number 10, Human Occupations. In the previous video, in part 1, we have seen what is the meaning of human occupation, what are the different classification or the different categories into which the human occupation is classified, with the example of the dairy industry. Here we'll take the example of sugar mill. So figure A, we are going to see that flow chart. So figure A shows you the field, sugarcane field. The sugarcane is cultivated in the field. So students, you must be knowing by now this occupation is included in primary occupation. Harvesting of sugarcane is also related to natural resources, so this is also a primary occupation. Transportation of sugarcane. The sugarcane which is cut from the field is to be taken to the sugar mill, and it is to be taken immediately so that the sucrose content, the juiciness of it does not reduces. So this transportation of sugarcane is a tertiary occupation because service is being provided. Service is being provided to the primary occupation, service of taking the sugar from the place where it is produced to the place where it is going to be converted, where the raw material will be converted into finished good. So transportation of sugarcane, here it is a tertiary occupation. Sugar is being collected at the sugar factory, again service is being provided here, so this is also a tertiary occupation. Inspection and maintenance of machinery at the factory. So there are different machineries which will be doing the work of processing the sugarcane. First of all, the sugarcane juice will be extracted. This juice will be converted into sugarcane. So there are different factories. The sugarcane which is brought from the field is inspected, and the machineries has to be well maintained. So this job is done by experts who are having more skill, special skill and special knowledge in this particular field. So this is a quaternary occupation. Here the experts are shown working on the machineries. Processing of sugarcane juice. This is a secondary occupation. Here the raw material which has come from the primary occupation, that is sugarcane, it is converted into sugar. So processing is done. So this is a secondary occupation. Sugar production and quality check. The quality check is done by the expert again. So it's a quaternary occupation, but sugar production only if you take it is a secondary occupation. But G as a whole, we will take it as quaternary occupation. Now the sacks of the sugar has to be carried. The sugar which is ready from the factory, it is taken to the place where it will be sold. So the sugar is filled in this sack, it is loaded into the truck, and these trucks will be carrying it to the place where it will be sold. So sacks being carried, that is, the loading of the sugar is being done in this picture. So this is a tertiary occupation. And sale of the sugar. Finally, the sugar is now ready for sale. It will be purchased by the consumer, the customers. So sale of the sugar is again a tertiary occupation. Now we'll see the questions which are related to this figure 10.2. Classify the occupation from primary to quaternary. We have already classified as we were seeing the pictures from A to I. Second one, which raw material is used in the secondary occupation? So here we have seen that the raw material used, okay, we have seen in figure number F, where the sugarcane juice was processed. Okay, so processing of sugarcane juice, here sugarcane juice will be converted into sugar. So the raw material used here is a sugarcane, which is the final product obtained from secondary. So the final product is the sugar. Sugar is being made out of this particular production activity. What are the services in the tertiary occupation? Different services that we have seen in tertiary occupation were transportation, collection of sugarcane, then loading of it into the maybe truck to be carried, and finally the sale of the goods, sale of sugar in this case. Which picture is related to quaternary occupation? Here there are two pictures which are related to quaternary occupation. Picture number E, that is inspection is being done and maintenance of factory. So this is a quaternary occupation where expert skill and expert knowledge is required. So also the quality check, that is figure number G, is also a quaternary activity. So after having discussed this, students, let us see one more industry. I have taken here the example of textile industry. In figure A, you can see cultivation of cotton. Cotton is grown here. In figure B, cotton is harvested, that is cotton balls are collected. In figure C, it is transported. So figure A and figure B are primary occupation. As the transportation of cotton is being shown in figure C, it is a tertiary occupation. Figure D is a quality check of the cotton that is brought from the field. So this is an expert is required in this particular case. So this is a quaternary occupation. Then figure E, maintenance of the factories, maintenance of the machinery, inspection is done here. So this is again it is an expert's advice is required, expert knowledge is required. So this is also a quaternary occupation. F, in figure F and figure G, the cotton, first of all it is converted into thread and then the thread is weaved to make the cloth. So F and G is related to secondary occupation. H is the ready cloth which is produced in the textile mill. It is loaded into this particular truck, and this truck so this particular occupation is a service being provided, so it is a tertiary occupation. And finally in figure I, the sale of the goods is taking place. So now students, just as we have classified the human occupation, and we know that human occupations are done to earn livelihood. An activity which is undertaken to earn livelihood is known as occupation. So just as your parents are engaged in one or the other occupation, the country is also practicing its own occupation, and it is through these occupations which are practiced in the country the economic transaction takes place. Economic transaction occurs within the country, not only within the country but within different countries. Okay, and the transaction decides the country's production and various goods, their annual income also. This in turn is used to decide the extent of country's development. So what a country produces, the sort of economic transaction which are occurring in the nation will determine what sort of development is taking place in the country. Here in figure 10.3, students, you can see the pie diagram. Okay, this is a pie chart. It's a circular figure and this is divided into the 3 occupations that we have studied. Although we have studied 4 occupations, here only 3 occupations are classified. But 3 particular countries are taken. Primary occupation is shown in blue color, secondary occupation in brown, and tertiary occupation is shown in green color. So we are going to see each of them, each of these countries in detail, each of this pie chart in detail. So this is the pie chart of Bangladesh. Now we can see Bangladesh, more part of this particular pie chart, particular circle that you can see, majority of this part is occupied by blue color. And blue color, students, you know, is representing the primary occupation. So large number of manpower are engaged in primary occupation in Bangladesh. That means majority of the people in Bangladesh are engaged in primary occupation. Very less % people, as you can see, that green color is very less. So the tertiary occupation practiced by manpower here is very less. So this was about Bangladesh. Once again, majority of the manpower in Bangladesh is doing primary occupation. They are engaged in primary occupation. A very little part is occupied by tertiary and some part is occupied by secondary. How about United Arab Emirates? You can see majority of this circle, this pie diagram, this pie chart is occupied by green color. That means maximum people, more % of manpower here are engaged in tertiary occupation and very less people are engaged in primary occupation. Some people are engaged in secondary occupation. Finally, last country, Turkey. In Turkey, you can see uh, the percentage of primary, secondary, and tertiary. Manpower engaged in primary, secondary, and tertiary are almost the same. So there are certain questions related to this pie charts. Which country has more manpower engaged in primary occupation? So if we go to see Bangladesh, you will see that in Bangladesh more people are engaged in primary occupation. That means a large part of this pie diagram is occupied by blue color. That means maximum people, maximum percent of manpower here is engaged in primary occupation. So the answer of this question is Bangladesh. Which country has more manpower engaged in secondary occupation? Now students, secondary occupation is shown by brown color. So out of these three, I think Turkey, in Turkey, more percent of people are engaged in secondary occupation. The third one, which country has more manpower engaged in tertiary occupation? So United Arab Emirates, if you see, this green color is maximum here and green color represents manpower engaged in tertiary occupation. So in United Arab Emirates, maximum manpower is engaged in tertiary occupation. Which country has almost equal manpower engaged in all the occupation? So the answer to this is Turkey. In Turkey, you can see all the three colors are equally represented. That means almost equal manpower is engaged in primary, secondary as well as the tertiary occupation. Now students, country which has more manpower engaged in tertiary occupation is considered to be a developed country. Where more manpower is engaged in tertiary occupation, that country is called a developed country. But when more manpower is engaged in primary occupation, such a country is considered to be a developing country. So now in the previous diagram, in the previous 10.3 figure of pie chart, you have to rank the countries from developed to developing. That means most developed country will come first, second will be less developed, and the last will be the least developed country. That is, you have to classify from developed to developing. So students, if you see that 10.3 pie diagram once again, you will say that most developed country is United Arab Emirates, because I've told you a country is considered developed if maximum percent of the people of that country, more manpower of that country is engaged in tertiary occupation. And after United Arab Emirates comes Turkey, and finally will be Bangladesh. That means from developed to developing, if you have to rate the countries, if you have to rank the countries, first will be United Arab Emirates, second will be Turkey, and third one will be Bangladesh. Now students, there are certain activities. Try this and do it yourself. So let us do that also. What effect does nature have on our occupation? Definitely, nature plays a very major role, a vital role in deciding what occupation will be followed in this particular part of the world. Let us see each of the we are going to see one by one different natural calamities and how it is going to affect the occupation. First one, drought. Drought is a situation where there is no rain at all, where there is lack of rainfall. So you can see the land has become very much dry. No agriculture is possible on this particular land. So if no agriculture is there, that means very less production from the primary occupation. And students, we know that primary occupations raw material is being used in secondary occupation for manufacturing. So if no agriculture because of drought like condition, secondary occupation will also suffer, and so will the tertiary occupation. So can you see students, nature plays a very important role in occupation. Next natural calamity, a storm strikes. Okay, because of storm, because of heavy rain which is accompanied because of storms, the standing crop is destroyed. And if the crop is destroyed, the production of agriculture is going to be adversely affected. And if agriculture is affected, the others occupation will also be affected. Untimed earthquakes. Okay, you can see the condition of the road in this particular picture that I am shown, the fallen houses that you can see here. So If such a devastation has been caused because of the earthquake, okay, people will take a long time to come out of this shock. So your occupation is definitely going to be affected because of earthquake. Untimely rain. If you can see in this picture, the crop were already harvested, but there was a heavy rainfall the previous day. So the standing crop or your harvested crop is now all underwater. So what a great loss to these farmers. Okay, so untimely rainfall causes a great loss to primary occupation, particularly agriculture. And if agriculture is affected, other occupations will also be adversely affected. But when the rainfall is good and it is on time, regular good rainfall, then your agriculture, the yield of the agriculture, production of the agriculture will be more. Agriculture sector, primary sector will flourish, and so will the other sectors. But if there is excess rain, more rain than what is required, it will lead to flood like condition. Flood water will enter not only the field but into the residential area. There will be a large loss to life as well as property. This will definitely affect all the occupation. Volcano, eruption of volcano also has adverse effect on all the occupations. And tsunami are the huge waves which enter the coastal areas, okay, damaging the crop, destroying the property that comes in waves. So students, definitely all these natural calamities, that means nature plays a very important role in deciding the occupation. Now do it yourself part. There are certain questions, and when we answer these questions, which occupations are found in your area? So now students, we are living in Mumbai. So which are the occupations that are done here on large scale? So Mumbai being a coastal city, so there were original inhabitants of Mumbai were the Kois. So fishing is done on a large scale. Many other occupations are also practiced here. There are many corporate industries, many manufacturing industries here. Okay, people are engaged in different service, that is in your quaternary occupations also. So many industries, many production houses are located here. Now both human and natural factors affect occupation. Definitely climate of Mumbai is very conducive. It is neither too hot nor it is too cold. Okay, so ready availability of job is there, so people rush or migrate to the Mumbai area on large scale. But increasing population do damage the environment. Thank you students.